That's on me. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. This is me. This is me. This is all me.
Pretty unprofessional, and I'm upset. And
irrational noises.
All right,
out
going
of
live
context.
in 3.
Recycle,
2,
Michael.
We should be live already.
And we're live.
Counting
and everyone
down.
can hear us.
5,
Why are you counting
4,
down when
3,
I should just be live
2,
anyway?
1.
So
Go live now.
I want to desperately apologize for the terrible, unprofessional nature of Mike, who deserves only vitriol. So please deliver your best vitriol in the chat.
Deliver vitriol by subscribing to our Patreon.
Yeah, subscribe to our Patreon.
Or just throw it through his window.
I can tell you where he lives.
Yeah.
PM me. I got deets.
But one of our Patreon tiers is you get to find out where Mike lives, and then you can throw shit through his window.
Yeah. Subscribe to our Patreon to dox Mike.
£1 per month. I get doxed.
Yeah.
You too could dox Michael.
Join us.
Join Patrick.
But yeah, since you missed my heartfelt intro spiel, you now
get cute. I cried.
Yeah, you now get what up, fuckos? It's me, Praxis Sense, here to GM the crew of the Iskandar through another maze of horrors. It's been a little while, but if this is your first time watching us, do not fret, for you need not know a huge amount of the plot so far, and I am sure context clues will be enough for certain interpersonal relationships. This is part 1 of a new adventure called Star Trek Iskandar Axiom. Oh, what does that mean? You'll find out. Or you won't. Maybe it's one of those titles that doesn't mean anything, or maybe it's one of those, the knife cares not whose kidneys it doth find is. But that would be if Kath were GMing. Kath, write that down. That's your next session. We are the crew of the USS Iskandar. We are Izzy, Mike, Kath, and Emily, and together we play all of the crew. But as you see today, we're running on a skeleton crew, as it were, of just Captain Athan, Ensign Strange, and Lieutenant Cayce. I will give.
They're all undead because it's a skeleton crew.
Yeah, skeleton crew. They're all undead. Well, no, you've all got skeletons. Like,
have we?
Yeah, you have bones within you.
Spoilers.
Got teeth.
Now was the day the skeletons came to life.
Your teeth are just outside bones.
This is horrible.
We're singing different songs, but I like to think I want a mashup of that was the night the skeletons came to life and your teeth are just outside bones. Someone make that happen for me. Thank you very much. It is my birthday soon, so that's what I'll need. My birthday in 2 months. That's not soon. I'm just lonely.
I'm gonna lie about my birthday because I just miss social interaction.
2 months is soon. I haven't spoken to someone for a while, except for my beloved, who is downstairs, and I can't talk to him because I'm streaming. So I got to talk to you. You know, when you've only been in a house with one person for a few weeks and it does things to your brain. But me. Hi.
Welcome to Iskandar.
What do you mean, Mike? What do you mean the audio wasn't working? Mike, okay, start again.
All right, start again.
It started out so well. I'm choosing to blame Mike. If Mike had got this working from the start, this would not have
Oh, we're blaming Mike. How original.
Yes, we're blaming Mike, and we'll continue to blame Mike until discipline improves. But that being said, hello. I'm genuinely very sorry.
It's going great. You're doing fantastic.
I haven't GM'd in a really long time, so be nice to me. You all have to be nice to me. And I'm talking to the audience, not you three, because you three deserve only pain. But aside from that, welcome to the latest adventure of Star Trek Iskandar. I'm gonna put a broad, not even a content warning, but I intend for this to be a somewhat more spooky adventure than previous ones we've had, which means I'm going to be putting in themes of tension, maybe a little bit of gore, maybe even a soupçon of body horror. But
I sure hope it happens to Strange.
Yeah. But ideally, I'm going to keep it, within, a 15 rating, within the bounds of what you might see on an episode of Star Trek. But just if you are incredibly sensitive to suspense and spooks, then I don't know, go easy. But I feel it's only fair to warn people because I know that some people just don't have no time for that sort of shenanigans. In which case, we have a broad back catalogue over on youtube.com. But as I said, I don't expect it's going to be anything particularly awful for us. But for the crew of the USS Iskandar, well, that's another matter. Which leads us in quite nicely to a shot. The closing credits music closes, and there is a shot of a shuttle, one that eagle-eyed fans will recognize as a shuttle of the USS Iskandar, flying into a solar system. And although this will obviously be the sort of introduction that does get read by the captain, I'm reciting it just because I've not briefed Kath, because it's all fresh, it's all new, it's all exciting. Nevertheless, the captain's log informs us that Captain Athan is en route to the USS Savoy with Ensign Adam Strange in order to meet with a captain there for his disciplinary review. Captain Athan is very tactful about this, and I'm sure many of you will remember that Ensign Adam Strange was formerly Lieutenant Adam Strange and is somewhat in the doghouse for crimes, and is very lucky and is very lucky to still have his commission at all, let alone not be in some sort of prison. And from Athan's tone, you can tell that that's still an ongoing thing that she's very tired of. And we see Captain Athan sat in the co-pilot's seat of the shuttle, but most of the shuttle driving is being done by a security officer who we recognize as Ensign Carnell, a fan favorite. And Athan will say, en route, we have received a special request from a team of researchers in the Castor System for our chief science officer. There has been an incident at one of the research stations on Castor, and owing to its unique place in the galaxy, there is only really one scientist who can help, as the Castor System is the home place of Lt Samuel Cayce. While there are, of course, probably many more senior science officers who could assist, Cayce did a junior report in the Academy on the degrading orbit of the planets of Castor, and he's from there. So Athan was quite keen to deploy her chief science officer and maybe get a little bit of clout back for the dinged reputation of the USS Iskandar. And as the camera pulls in to see Athan and Carnell sat in the driver's seats, and Strange and Cayce sat quietly at the back, doing whatever it is two sad boys who are being sad opposite each other do. There is a little ping on the console indicating communication from one of the planets of the Castor System, which you assume to be Castor 4. Castor 4, where Cayce is from, and where the majority of the populace of the system live.
I bring it up.
Captain Athan?
Speaking, with whom am I? Who's calling? calling.
Who's calling?
I picture when
New
office
phone.
mode.
Sorry, I shall have to take this on my mobile. Just a moment. I'll have to get the hands free.
I wanted to say who's speaking, but I just said the word speaking, so I panicked.
This is Captain Athan speaking. And you?
And who are you? Who the balls are you?
Who the fuck's this?
Fuzz
This is Mina Clavora. I head the science team down here.
Ms. Clavora. Yes, we are inbound. We should be with you relatively soon. As requested, we have Lieutenant Cayce aboard to attend upon your situation.
Oh, great. How's Sammy doing?
The lieutenant is doing fine.
Tell him me and his mum say hi. Don't. That'll embarrass him. Just he can assume it. He can assume we say hi.
I can hear you.
Oh.
Kind of lean in to the view.
Get that side eye from Athan.
Hi, Sammy, it's me.
Hi.
You see the sort of slightly fuzzy, to indicate not the best of signal.
Doctor, isn't she?
Definitely a scientist.
What was her surname again? I don't remember his
Clavora with a K.
Clavora. Going on my list.
And she has the sort of the sort of crinkles around her eyes that indicate a woman who smiles a lot, but she does look quite tired. Right. So we are currently running our decontam down here, so it's going to be quicker for you to just land on the research station. I'm going to send you up some codes, but I figured if you're gonna, she's not hesitating, that's just me getting distracted. I figured if you needed to ask me any questions, it's probably best to do it from here rather than waiting around. Since the signal between here and the research station is absolutely nothing.
We have plenty of time, so we should be able to set down Dr. Clavora. I'll patch you through to Lieutenant Cayce so he can ask you about the situation, and I'll flick it back to a different screen near the aft of the shuttle, so that Science Boy can talk to Science Mom about science, because I don't know.
Hi.
Hi, you're looking well.
Thank you. So are you?
Thanks. Have you been sleeping enough? You've been eating enough?
Yes, thank you. What is the situation? How can I help?
So you know that when you were leaving for Starfleet, we were building that research. Well, we were importing that research station to study the degrading orbit of Castor 10.
Yes.
Castor 10, but the station was to orbit. We worked on the gravitational field with the 16 sort of micromoons, and we're working on developing a ring system to see if we can. Well, that's not important. So we haven't heard from that research station for a while, and normally we don't, because the signal around here is but we think that there has been a problem with the sensors, because we're not getting any sensory feedback either, and either they're trying to fix it, or they haven't noticed that the feedback array isn't feeding data back to us on 4. And since we can't call them and they can't call us, which again, completely expected, and we don't have spare tech to go out there. Our shuttles are kind of dinged up, and you know what Castor 10 can be like. Oh, ice storms and all that kind of stuff. Gas giants, they're a real gas. I'm sorry, that's I'm sorry, that's terrible. That's a terrible joke. So it's one of Riley's. But I thought you'd be perfect to take a look at it, because I know that you're very interested in the feedback that we used to get from Castor 10, and also the technologies a touch advanced. The research team aren't. I mean, some are locals, but they're mostly not locals. So they've mostly come in from externally. There's a couple of there's a Starfleet, an ex-Starfleet post out there, and it's civilian, but I know that you're always talking about how civilian science and Starfleet science should interact more, and
Yes.
and I thought, and it would just and when you're done, then you can come and maybe spend a bit of time with me and your mom, maybe.
Yes, that sounds lovely.
how's Adam?
Very obvious, like looking over the shuttle to Adam. He's fine, I think. Are you fine?
Oh,
He's
hi,
fine.
Adam. Hi, it's Mina.
Lean over. Hi.
Is it difficult living with him? Is he being a bit of a nuisance? Because I know he never picks up after himself.
No, it's all fine.
Have you had any arguments about the ambient temperature yet?
Mina, this has been lovely. I'm very much looking forward to coming and spending more time with you.
Sidle off screen. Go sit back down.
Okay, baby. Well, you look after yourself. You if there is a problem with the communications array, then I've sent you all the stuff you need to ping us on 4. But if you can't reach us, then honestly, the interference from Castor 10 can be a real nuisance. But you've got Starfleet stuff and all that kind of gubbins. But yeah, we've not heard anything for about 3 months, and that's outside of our window of tolerance.
Mhm.
Really, I thought you were coming a bit later today. I don't know why I expect you to be slower, Starfleet engineering and all that. But we'll be decontaminating now for the next 70 hours. And once we're done, then obviously you're welcome to come down. It might not take you that long, but you know, they have good replicators on 10, so you can maybe get yourself a snack, speak to Wex, you know, just have a nice time. But just thank you for your help, baby. I really appreciate it.
Not to worry. That's literally my duty.
Of
Bye-bye.
course. Bye. Screen goes down.
Screen
Hang
goes
up
off.
aggressively on your mother.
Carnell kind of doesn't give the captain a look, but definitely looks in that way that two people look at each other like, oh, we're not going to say anything. But I want you to know that I'm being very controlled in not saying anything right now. It is my duty as the jock of this mission to say something, but I won't.
So, Lieutenant, what do you require?
A standard array of... I've forgotten the name of everything that exists in Star Trek for a moment.
Sonic screwdriver.
So, no, not that.
Like a toolkit.
Yeah. Tricorder. Yeah. Star Trek words. Standard array, tricorder.
Tricorder?
Hardly know her. Got it.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ.
That was my mum.
I'll just go on mute.
Yeah. Standard equipment should be fine.
We'll set you down at Castor 10. Will you be fine from there?
Yes.
You gonna I've forgotten what nationality or ethnicity or anything Carnell is.
I don't think we've ever given Carnell like any character traits other than making jokes about his name.
Yeah.
Exists. That's a character trait.
He fucks.
He fucks. He
He
exists.
do fuck.
My brain went, do a voice, do any voice, and I'm like, I don't know how to speak words.
Well,
I'm
All the
afraid-
voices.
It is
I'm afraid
me,
I've-
Colonel.
I've forgotten English.
Can we ban Mike for that one?
I'm
Yeah.
powerful, ensign.
Banned.
Yeah.
Mike is now banned. No, there's only allowed to be one Russian on the ship, and it's Burov. So if you make him Russian, then Burov goes in the sea.
No, Burov yeets Carnell into the sea. That's how it works.
I don't think Burov has the upper body strength to eat
No.
literally anyone. Captain, is the lieutenant going to need me to accompany him, or am I going to go with you?
You're going to need accompaniment, Lieutenant Casey. If this is checking in on a fairly remote facility.
I'll defer to the ref. What narratively makes the most sense?
I think I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this in your capable hands. But I think what's the word I'm looking for? It's not called the lone working protocol, but Starfleet protocols will probably go, if your chief science officer is going off to a mysterious circumstance, probably best to take a buddy, the buddy system.
The buddy system applies
Yeah.
to Starfleet, yes, and besides, under the circumstances, it's fine for them to go. By all means, Lieutenant, have Ensign Carnell accompany you. I'm sure that I can fly us to our meeting and back without incident.
Coordinates are already set, Captain, and Kowalski told me that it's going to be pretty smooth sailing.
Very good. Well, then take us down to Castor 10, Ensign.
Okay. And Ensign Cayce, you will know about Castor. Sorry, Lieutenant Cayce, you've been demoted. As you go down to Castor 10, time is reversed.
Oh.
So Castor 10 is towards the edge of the Castor System. It is a huge icy blue gas giant, which was originally tapped by Castor 4 as a potential source of elements and fuel and all those good things. But owing to a number of concerns, one of them being how far out in the system it is, its orbit is kind of degrading horribly, because it's too big for the gravity position that it's in. Effectively, it doesn't have enough force to keep itself up, and the sun doesn't have enough gravitational pull to keep it in orbit, and so it's doing a lot of fucky shit, and always has been. So this research station was something that was intended to observe it, to study it, to see what long-term effect it would have, to see, all the things you do at a research station. That's all the knowledge I have for you, unless you have more questions.
No, this seems pretty self-explanatory. Station's gone dark. We know what it's for. We'll just hop in and see what the situation is. Yeah. And
because the camera's on you, you know that it's nothing really bad.
No. In fact, I think Casey's probably more worried about, this is the first time I think so. I might be wrong about this. Is this the first time he's been home since he's been given the news of, oh, by the way, the planet cut your life expectancy in a third?
Yeah, it is.
So...
Mina was definitely, Mina's always nice and upbeat, but Mina was definitely had that kind of, hey there, kiddo, hi, how you doing kind of energy.
So yeah, that's on his mind. He's doing a pretty good job of sitting on that for now.
There's a lot of subtext going on, a lot of subtext.
Yeah.
Subtext nevertheless,
is for cowards.
I never use it. Carnell is pulling down towards the space station, and you can hear the familiar ping of someone trying to engage communications. Carnell has been told that that's not going to happen, but it's standard protocol to at least try. And as you approach the docking with Carnell, again doing the protocol of informing the station, I'm coming, I'm docking, the ship is pulling in, you have been told
we're getting closer,
approaching. It's not finished. It's finished. Then there is a sudden burst of sound from the dashboard, as if communications were briefly connected. And then you hear the sort of scramble of, and then communication goes silent again.
And so what was that?
I was trying to connect with the station's comms, Captain.
Strange, what was that?
1 second, Captain. Let's have a look at these comms and see if there's anything obvious wrong at our end, or if it's entirely their end fell over.
Make me an operations check.
Tell me what the balls is going on.
Explain.
Working on it.
Oh, I just picked up 2 words. Liberate me. Okay, neat.
Captain, they're just chanting the word flesh over and over again.
So it seems to be a video burst of the captain just holding out his own face. It could well be that was a garbage roll. The roll was -3, so that's -1.
Well, you check over.
Have you ever walked out of a mall into a...
No, I think us not knowing what the balls is going on is fine right
fine.
now.
Yeah. You check over the system. it seems that what happened. Carnell's been basically pinging the comms tower. It connected for a second, and what you got during the connection was that scramble of static, and then the connection shut off. And Carnell is already docking the ship, so just slowly the ship comes into dock, which all goes ahead perfectly smoothly. And you know what? I would like notice checks from everyone, please.
Never a good sign.
Roll less garbage.
Oh, I do have score ranks in notice.
That is less garbage.
One dice murdered the other dice, so...
This can happen.
0 point for me.
6.
2. Yay!
No thoughts. Head empty.
And you're continuing to check the dashboard. But you know, nothing new comes up. Cayce and Strange will notice something as the ship, the shuttle docks with the station on Castor 10. 2 lights in the docking bay suddenly come on. And Strange's eyes are drawn to them, obviously, as you were. He and Cayce both noticed as you're pulling in that there were no lights on at the research station in the windows that you would expect. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, is something that's noteworthy. And Cayce would assume, pulling into this docking station, that these lights have come on automatically, like a ship docks, lights come on. That seems like a basic automated system. Strange, from a look at the systems that are in place, you recognize the style of lighting rig that is up here. Mm-hmm. You reckon those lights are manual and that something has put them on.
Okay.
And you hear the familiar, you know, of the shields coming back up and the ship successfully docking. And
sorry, so those lights have come on manually when the dock has been open to vacuum and thus
no when the ship docked, when it parked.
Oh right, so after it's
you are in, you are parked,
and then the lights happen after.
The lights happened as it was happening. You know, it was part of the same holistic process. Mm. Dock is successful, Captain.
All right, let's all just take a quick look. Make sure that we meet the staff here, know what the situation is.
Yes, it's suddenly darker than I would anticipate it being.
Also, if anyone's in trouble, then we have the resources. Then it seems that they're not necessarily capable of getting out a distress signal. So let's, for the moment, take a look around until we know the situation.
There is likely somebody around because those lights don't turn on automatically. They're manually controlled, so somebody's put them on.
Then let's meet the
Maybe that's all the signal they're able to get out.
I still can't hail him, Captain. Should I act like there's hostiles?
Sorry, I didn't make that out.
I still can't hail them, Captain. Should I act like there might be hostiles?
There's no reason to think that. There's probably just a systems malfunction or the like. Maybe someone's in trouble.
Carnell puts on the parking brake and goes to grab his. Sorry, Luke's playing Among Us downstairs, and I just heard a trill from Among Us, and I was like, no.
Oh no.
Nothing in the vents.
The trill's not in Among Us. The trill is in the shuttle with us.
No.
Damn it, I missed that one. Good time.
Holsters his tricorder and got me doing it now. Holsters his phaser and looks to the captain for guidance.
Like, you know, grab the phaser and tricorder, but just in the standard, like, we're going to check out a situation, and phasers are tools, so you never know if I need to blast open a door like a badass. And we'll disembark with the team.
Yep.
The boys.
Outside
Lads on tour.
is a small docking bay that you think wouldn't accept a ship much bigger than the shuttle. It seems a fairly Spartan space, one that hasn't been used very, very often. But you will all notice pretty easily, to varying degrees of technical aptitude, that parts of this docking bay have been stripped for parts. And that in some places things seem obviously damaged.
Gonna go look at the damaged stuff.
Connell steps out to do a bit of a sweep. Right, whereabouts are you looking? There's like stuff around the doors, there's stuff around the bit that leads out into space, there's what look to be containers or panels.
To be honest, I'm probably gonna go with whichever bit looks like it's had the most bits stripped out of it, or taken the most damage. And to kind of get an idea of what's gone missing, if there's this has been ripped open and mostly these bits have been taken, or this has been ripped open and fucking everything's been taken.
Yeah, that will be the control panel section. So
let's go and look at that then.
So make me a engineering check. And while you make that check, Athan and Cayce, what are you two up to?
Like not leaving the immediate area, but kind of heading towards the door. If there's the door out or any windows or something, and just trying to like take stock. If there's a window, have a peer. If there's a door, make sure the door works, kind of thing. But I'll let the engineer do a recce.
And Cayce.
I'm going to kick off a couple of ambient scans, even to the point of, has this docking bay been exposed to space, or is their atmosphere sufficient? Just anything that I can get in terms of anything that would be awry that could be detected even out here, I will do. Like, naturally, if it goes, oh, there's radiation, then that's a bad.
And I should care for an operations check from you, please, sir.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Shit. I shouldn't have rolled like that. The dice punished me.
So while you roll for that, Strange, what did you get on that engineering roll?
A whole 5.
A whole 5?
A flat nothing on the dice.
I don't like what our dice are doing tonight.
Don't worry, you'll roll better when the zombies hit. Okay, so Strange, you notice a couple of things. You notice that in some places the parts, I'm going to use parts in a very broad term, the way that you refer to high tech parts, scrap parts, but anything useful. Given your engineering knowledge and given you have, I think, a talent for sort of junk, for like making use of a scrap heap challenge style situation, it looks as if someone with an advanced or a respected in the field degree of engineering knowledge was breaking down the control panels and things for high-tech material, and that other people or a person or those that had less technical aptitude eventually just were pulling things out initially with just whatever is the Star Trek equivalent of fairly brutal tools, and then just hands and crowbars.
Yeah, so it started off being like a fairly sophisticated, careful, break it down for bits, and then just got increasingly cruder and more rushed. Okay. And by the sounds of things, it's just been taken for anything. There's not really a pattern to the kind of stuff that's been taken.
It definitely looks like the things that have been taken have been things like connectors and circuitry and technical parts, rather than just good bit of platinum on this. We'll take that. Or these are some self-sealing stem bolts. Like they've gone for technical parts rather than just scrap.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like the panels have been removed, but in order to get at the inside,
in order to get at the circuitry and the intricate bits. Okay.
Casey, what did you get?
-2.
I'm sorry, what was that?
-2 on ops. My good dice was a 1, my bad dice was a 4.
Ooh, boy.
I shouldn't have done what I did.
Buddy boy. So yeah, you're scanning the area, and you are you're broadly speaking, you can corroborate a lot of the things that Adam can corroborate just by going, yeah, these things aren't working, these things aren't connected, there's a ship here, but what you will get is that there is something in the atmosphere here. It pings. You've run it through your tricorder and it pings in the safe, breathable parameters, and it doesn't go danger, there's crap in the air, get out. But you can tell that there's something not super standard, either as a residue or an after effect or as a long ongoing thing. But you have no reason to believe that that's going to be a problem for the crew of the Iskandar. And Athan, I'm not making you check this because it's a thing that you will notice because you can see things, and that's not how I roll. But you go to check the door out of the docking bay. It's the only main door. There are probably many hatches and things for engineers to use. It is one of those quite thick blast doors, effectively, which makes sense because it might have to face the vacuum of space, and you want that to be pretty secure. It has a small window in it, equally thick, but the window is filthy. It's tinted, so you can't tell what it's filthy with, but it definitely looks like dirty or smeared or stained.
Which side?
On the inside.
Okay. It's a bit weird.
You can make me an investigate check if you wish, but this is all. I imagine seeing that you pause from just trying to open the door.
Yeah, and I'm not cracking it open yet. We'll go on as one. For fuck's sake! I don't investigate anything, as that's a -1.
It's dirty.
It's dirty. I can't see shit.
It's dirty, but what you do see is that the window doesn't seem to be broken.
That would be bad.
That would be bad.
That would be what we call a no-no from a safety perspective.
And Carnell returns from doing his sweep of the dock, and seems not to have found anything, but is stood somewhat ready.
Ensign Strange, Lieutenant Cayce, do you have anything?
It looks like quite a lot of people have been trying to take this place apart for, parts. It looks like it started off as a quite carefully done operation, but it's been getting more rushed, it looks like.
Okay. Lieutenant?
Nothing beyond what the ensign has said.
Right. Well, it sounds like they might be in some trouble here if they're trying to cobble together some parts. So let's go see what help these people need.
Captain, if Ensign Strange is right and they know we're here, shouldn't someone have come to grease us by now?
Probably, but that depends on what circumstances they're in. Yes, Ensign, you may go first, and let's keep phasers ready. But right now, we have no reason to assume anything is going on other than that these people are in trouble.
He nods, looks at the other two a little jumpily, but it's a look that Casey has experienced many times in his life, especially from security officers. It's the look of, I am now responsible for you. And Carnell moves to the door in, and will attempt to engage it to open, and nothing happens.
Ensign.
Yes, Captain. Right, let's engineer this door into submission.
Rollez-vous.
Not a good
Do you mean
enough
it's an
reason to use the
engineering roll,
word
yeah?
submission.
Yeah.
If that's an engineering roll, then that's 8.
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck.
While Strange has gone to take a look at the panel, I'm just checking in with what Athan and Cayce are doing. Are they still hanging around in the dock? Are they waiting kind of right behind these two? Are they
Sitting right there, like...
Yeah. I think definitely the idea of, hey, this is going a little deeper than just the comms are out. There are going to be wary glances around the docking port, but yeah, I'm staying close to them.
Athan is genuinely assuming that these people are just having some sort of technical difficulties. Like, protocol says be careful, but she's basically going, what the... This isn't a trouble place. This is a something's broken down scenario.
Look, Carnell is there to be your
It's his job.
Think the worst of the situation.
It's his job. I'm not going to give him an aneurysm, but like...
And pretty much with Fonzie-like grace and ease, Strange pulls out the panel on the side of the door, boops a few things, slides it back, and as he does, it just goes. It makes a satisfying little noise, and the door slides open. And you three are hit with a smell, an unsettlingly biological smell. It is not the smell of a room caked in blood, but it is definitely the smell of sort of dirt and decay mixed with that very distinct smell that for some of you have fairly potent war flashbacks of people who are injured or the dead. It is not an overwhelming smell, but given that you all come from clean future space communism, it is not something you're accustomed to smelling often. And as Carnell steps through, he activates the light on his phaser, as aside from 2 very faint strips of green security light, emergency light that just pick out the edges of the walls and the doors and things, it is not illuminated. And there's a long corridor.
Draws her phaser and gives the 2 sad boys a kind of do that too nod.
Mm-hmm.
But she follows
Do you know
up
what the captain says?
immediately behind Carnell because I think I have the better combat stats.
But that doesn't matter. He's your security
Oh,
officer.
no. I meant, like, yeah, he goes first, but, like, I'm going afterwards. And
Yeah, better combat stats than the 2 weedy nerdy boys.
Yeah.
We shuffle our limp noodle limbs to the back.
Jock Captain, like, goes second.
Goes ahead of nerds.
And Carnell, credit to the team. Carnell begins to do the full sweep down the hallway, and you see the arc of his torch cut across the wall and the doors, and you take in the sight of sort of, again, smears and marks as if something engaged with the wall. You know, that way that if you're carrying something dirty, it brushes. If you fall against a wall, you leave dirt there, here and there.
I guess I was going to say, Athan does go, like, Lieutenant, check what that substance is.
And as so make me an ops check.
Sorry,
but you can have a +2 shift because this is very science based.
I needed it.
Oh, good.
4, 2, 2, 3,
What?
3. Sorry, a lot
All
of my
those
math
are
is
numbers.
vocalized.
Then Casey will deliver this information. And for the sake of dramatic timing, I'll recite it. In that he says it's the usual natural organic compound substances that you would expect from a self-sustaining space station of this sort. The recycled plant waste, the food substances, biological matter from various human forms, some non-organic compounds that seem to tally with like shoe rubber and the way that if things hit the wall or if things are damaged, they will leave residue on the wall. As Carnell's torch illuminates on a patch sort of human height up the wall, as Casey will go, and blood as pressed into the glass of one of the doors is a very distinct brownish handprint.
Like so.
Lieutenant, I want you to scan for any life signs, and if you can't, I want you to do whatever it is in your power to be
Yes,
able,
Captain.
or to at least explain to me why you cannot pick up anything. Whether that is there is nothing to be there, or if there is interference. Ensign Strange, are you familiar at all with the layout of facilities such as these, or is there any way in which you can access our shuttle stage max from here and get us an idea of the layout of this facility? I assume they're all following some degree of standard design.
I'm not especially familiar with these, Captain, but I can certainly pull up what the standard layout for this kind of station would be on the shuttle's databanks.
If it looks as if Casey is remaining to do scans and Strange is going back to the ship,
I don't know. Like, I would assume if our tricorders can link back to the shuttle, but if they can't, I'm not sending them back.
Download it from here over the Wi-Fi.
If the Wi-Fi is not working, we're not going back. Like...
The Wi-Fi is not working.
Okay.
For the simple reason, Strange, that you would assume that whatever boosts the Wi-Fi from the shuttle bay is one of the things that got completely taken out, and the ship's usual shielding is just getting in the way.
Okay. Strange will relay that as the reason that he can't get the information from the shuttle from here.
Okay.
Is much the same impacting my capacity to scan for life forms?
Yeah, you can roll your operations check to scan, but I'm taking into account a couple of dynamic things as we go.
I say 4.
Yeah, you are very aware that owing to this research station's location in the system, it is incredibly heavily shielded from a lot of radiation and signals of many sorts, which does add a somewhat scrambled note to your signs. But you definitely get life signs aboard this ship outside of your party, but it is very difficult to track down locations and numbers and strengths and things.
I can imagine like the interface is just pinging them all over the place. Yeah. I will relay that.
Carnell has gone to glance through the window that contains the handprint to look into the room beyond, basically that kind of look.
All right, let's keep moving then. Keep your eyes out for anything. Let's go check out the room Carnell's by. Bye, Carnell. Bye.
At the door here, you go to the panel next to it. And this one opens fairly smoothly into what seems to be some sort of sitting area or locker area. There are crates, there are boxes, there are some benches. Things seem to be in somewhat of a state of disarray. Strange, you will immediately notice a couple of places where things have been stripped for parts, not to the same extent as the docking bay, but certainly
that's been done again here, that kind of.
Athan, your eyes will be drawn to a tipped over crate that seem to contain food packets or similar, in that you recognize what's written on the side, and there might be like one empty packet there, but anything else has gone. And Samuel Cayce, your tricorder, which you've been trying to get the signal to sort itself out. As the door closes behind you, it seems to calm down a little bit. And in here, the glow of the lights is a little bit stronger. And you hear a sound coming from the ceiling, which is just a sort of a pleasant bang. Bang. Bang.
Where's it coming?
And then the hallway behind you, you faintly hear, but you definitely see, illuminated by the green emergency lights, a pale, dense gas fill the hallway, pouring out of the dark corners up in the ceiling and just flooding down the place where you were just recently stood, now making the handprint on the glass stand out in stark relief to the pale green glowing gas behind it. And as Carnell turns to illuminate that scene with his torch, all of you somewhat startled by the sudden sound of gas exploding, Casey's tricorder seems to, for a second, he does the equivalent of giving it a smack on the side, and the static sorts itself out for just a moment. And Casey looks up and says, "Oh no," as the emergency lighting shuts off, and there is the sound of bits of the ceiling dropping around you, and the sound of thin space aluminum as figures drop out, and you hear an awful guttural scream as if the worst of fucking hell's demons have descended upon you. And I think that's probably a good place to take a little break, is it not?
Yeah.
Bye, Ensign Carnell. Bye.
So
You've been
gang,
killed by fucking Nogri or something.
So gang, let's take a good break. Go get yourself a cup of tea. Go hydrate. We'll see you back here at 9 for the second half of Star Trek Iskandar, Axiom. Oh, sorry, I was too excited to jump the gun. Oh.
We are live.
Fuck, really? What?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I said that. Not because of what I said about Michael, but because I'm not allowed to use the no-no
They
word
didn't
on
hear
camera.
it. They didn't hear it. We don't
Oh.
need to draw attention to
Good.
Nothing
In which
was
case,
said.
excellent. You'll all die not knowing what it was I did or didn't say. And in a way, isn't that more torture than me torturing Mike?
So the patron tier above doxing Mike is you get to find out what is he said. Join us on Patreon.
It's on Patreon.
Our Patreon's gonna stream where there's
Horrible
no
thing.
break.
I called Mike.
Insult.
While planning.
Find out if you pay us money.
Yeah.
Give us money, idiots.
Or don't.
Or don't, like, you don't have
And
to.
live
I'm
forever
just sticking
in
about.
uncertainty.
It's International Women's Day, and like the party is at least 50% woman.
Femme.
The players, not the party. The sad boys.
The players.
I wasn't calling the sad boys girls, except Carnell might, because he's jog.
A fun night.
I'm
in that like early 2000s bad feminism. Like I'm cool. I'm a girl, but I'm cool, and so I'm gonna call you two girls disparagingly.
Yeah.
I nearly loudly proclaimed I'm a cis man, which would be the most cis man thing
That's
to
the
do on
worst thing for you
International
to do on
Women's
International
Day.
Women's
Happy
Day.
International Women's Day. Let I remind everyone that Mike's a cis man. Oh, you are
Well
brave.
done, Mike.
Oh, so brave.
I did it. The world listens to me.
Unreasonable fucking piece of shit. I look forward to murdering you slowly in Iskandar, a hostel.
Which is not this episode.
No, this is definitely more The Descent.
Well,
I just watched that.
spoilers.
Before we left, I don't think spoilers, given the scene that you're currently in. Before we left these three on a quick break, Lieutenant Samuel Cayce, Captain Athan, Ensign Adam Strange, and Ensign Carnell were aboard the research station orbiting Castor X, a large gas giant on the outskirts of the system that born and bred young Samuel Cayce. They have touched down and found that the research vessel is the research station has been somewhat stripped for parts by expert and non-expert hands alike, and those said same hands perhaps left bloody imprints on the walls where there were signs of decay, disarray, and other such umshka. The four of them investigated some sort of recreational space. In doing so, shut the door behind them and thankfully seemed to have saved them from some sort of gas that is still venting through the hallway outside. But unfortunately, as Samuel Cayce was attempting to take scans of the station to find out the life signs of the crew that were aboard it, he found them. And there were some right over the party, as a horrible guttural scream echoes out and panels in the ceiling drop as downfall figures in the barely illuminated darkness. And a number of things are going to happen, and then you can decide what you do. For starters, one of the panels fall, separating the room in. Sorry, the TV is loud downstairs. Separating the room somewhat in half, as these shapes fall, and you realize that the sound is coming from them, as well as some noises coming still from the ceiling. Could all three of you roll me 1d6, please?
So what the screaming is coming from them and from
the
in the
vents.
panels,
Indicating that there are more in the panels.
Oh, okay.
Lovely.
3, 6, 2.
Goodbye, Sam.
Bye, Sam.
One of the panels that falls, and again containing the figures above, falls squarely against the shoulder of Samuel Cayce, who is knocked to the floor with a probably a very undignified sort of noise, and with a spin and a bright flare of blue light, Carnell spins and fires a phaser to stun in the direction of the group that fell, but because they had fallen, which is not the angle that he is expecting, it pings off towards the ceiling. But he stands with Captain Athan and Ensign Strange somewhat behind him, facing off against these shapes in the darkness, and the flare of the blue light indicated that they were you couldn't quite see, but they were hunched low to the ground, but had a humanoid form, and that is all you saw. So I'm going to just go through and ask what y'all are doing, and then take your roles as they come. So captain, my captain, what do you do?
So just making sure. So Carnell has already shot at one. It didn't necessarily achieve much. Are there? I am going to shoot one, but I would like to know: are there any other exits?
There are not.
Okay.
From what Strange said earlier about not knowing much about the makeup of these sorts of stations, they are sort of modular stations with bits tacked on. So while there might be escapes through things like emergency hatches, you don't know, and the only door is behind you out into that gas.
Okay, no, good to know. In which case, gonna move up to take a position sort of beside Carnell, so he can shoot at one wave and I can shoot at another wave. Like at the very least, we can spread our fire.
Phaser set to stun, I presume.
Yes, phaser is still set to stun. I think at this exact moment it's a bit too early for Athan to be thinking like more four-dimensionally about this situation. So a phaser check, I assume.
You make me a phaser check, and I will go to Ensign Strange. What do you do?
That sounded promising. So you say no. When you say no exits, is that as in like we are completely surrounded by these people that have dropped out the ceiling?
You have the door behind you. But
okay.
But the door leads out into a hallway full of mysterious gas.
What do I fancy just taking our chances with? Mysterious gas or
ninjas?
Between the mysterious gas or the screaming ninjas, as the popular expression goes.
I think he still might just panic and just go for the door, to be honest.
Very well.
Let's go open the door.
Then you go to the door, and I will give you for free, so you don't waste your time, that when the door swung closed and the gas began to vent, some sort of, not like, it's not locked, but some sort of emergency, like, deadbolt, put it in place. So if
cool, I would like to start un-emergency deadbolting that door.
Yeah, absolutely. That will be an ops check to do that. And in the meantime, I'm going to say, Casey, you are going to sit this round out because you have been stunned and knocked to the floor, and for a second think you're dead, and then sort of gently come to a bit dazed, and there is a screaming thing over you. You don't have to take an aspect or anything, but you basically have the temporary trait. Oh God, why is it on me? Oh God. So, Kath, what did you get for a thumb?
Yeah, I guess I should help Casey with that. I got a 4 + 3. I got a 7 on my phasers.
A 7. Superb.
I'd like to help Casey.
Then, could you please roll me a d6?
It was a 4.
For God's sake, I didn't assign a figure. For fuck's sake, just a second.
I understand.
Okay, roll me a d6 again. Now I've assigned values.
It's a 5.
Very well. Then in the light of Carnell's last phaser burst, you see the room illuminated very faintly, and you are able to take a shot at the figure that is rising up quickest, which is not the one that is on Casey, but you do shoot confidently in the chest, and it falls back stunned. And again, in the blue light, you can see this is effectively, because combat happens so fast, in the flashes of light you can see that they are moving very quickly in the room, around the room, and that there are lines falling from the ceiling around them.
Like, even though Athan's shooting them because they've dropped out of nowhere screaming and have decked Casey, like, she is still gonna, like, she's probably gonna get like halfway through this is Captain Athan of Starfleet. Please stand down. We're here to help. But she doesn't probably sound the most convincing she's ever sounded in her life. Not just because she's shooting them.
Yeah, she's shouted in the I'm Captain Nadar Athan, the USS Iskandar. You have the right to not be dicks about this. Ensign Strange, what were your digits? 5. Then yeah, it basically goes, you're not allowed to do this, are you sure? Because it's bad. And then you go,
yes, open the goddamn door.
I'm sure. And it starts a 5-second countdown towards opening the door, which is it says something like I can't remember any technical words, like air seal will disconnect in 5, 4. So by next round it should be open. And you're basically doing that thing going, come on, count down quicker.
Open the door, open the door, open the door, open faster. Come on.
Carnell takes another shot in the arc of the captains. And you hear a sound like one of them reacting to being shot, but it wasn't as clean a shot as the captains, and no one goes flying back dramatically. And he steps, he is basically doing that thing where you're in a sort of line and he steps forward as if to push the advantage and push the enemy down somewhat, but also is taking a step closer to Casey, who is currently an unknown combatant in this situation. Casey, you're currently lying effectively with a light metal panel like on your shoulder, but like you could easily pull out of it, but there is definitely a weight there and a feeling of endazement, and like it really hurts because you took the weight of a human-sized person thing, whatever.
Sucks.
What do you
do? How close is this human person-sized thing to me? Is it still over me?
Like basically over you.
Seeing as I have this ceiling panel to my advantage, I'm going to use it as almost like a shield to shield barge this thing off me and give me enough ground to stand up.
Superb. You may make me a physique check.
That I'm good at. My dice hate me. That was nearly a crit fail.
No.
Where is my physique? Oh, I'm not actually good at physique.
You're going to need a new boyfriend.
That is a -4. Athletics I'm good at.
Yeah,
I should have maybe used the sci-fi zappy make 'em stunned pistol that I've got easily at my disposal.
You should have.
But I thought I'd Dark Souls it.
I know. I'll rugby tackle him. I made an error. I don't know what rugby is. Then Michael, I'm gonna give you an offer.
Devil's bargain.
I'm gonna give you a devil's bargain in the form of a fate point.
I could indeed use
make that a
point.
you can no, I'll give you a fate point to make that a crit failure, and then we'll go from there.
I mean, it can't get that much worse.
You can, and it'll be funny.
Yeah, take my head off. Fuck
That's
you.
A
Do
great
it.
use of GM. Like, I'll give you a fate
so
point.
good.
I love that.
I did roll a 5 on my negative. Yeah, I'll up that to a 6. I'll die.
Yeah, there you go. Here's your fate point.
Thanks.
And in the process of attempting to effectively lift this thing off you with a plate of metal, you manage to unbalance it somewhat, and are kind of almost a little bit stunned that, like, the metal wasn't super heavy, but that you were able to you flash back to all the security training you've been put through over the past few months, and you feel like maybe you're really taking some of it in. Your shoulder screams with the effort of trying to like roll over and push at the same time. And you can see, and as you sort of sit up ever so slightly, you make eye contact with Carnell, who is sort of shining the torch towards you, which is a little bit blinding, but everything is a bit blinding at the moment because the torches are flashing around everywhere. And you feel that kind of flood of relief of the enemy is no longer on me. I see a Starfleet security officer. Good. Rescue is here. And then Carnell looks somewhat behind you with a look of alarm, and you're blinded again by the flash of blue light as he takes a shot over your shoulder. To what effect you don't know, as very quickly a number of things happen. One, you all hear a sound from the ceiling. How much attention you pay to it is entirely down to your own conscience, but it's that same clinical voice going, "Door access overridden," and you hear a as the door slides open and the room begins to fill with quite a heavy, dense gas that, since this room is not lit by the emergency lights, just glows a sort of pearlescent white and has that kind of residue to it that smoke machines have, that kind of quite dense flavor residue to them. Which temporarily robs Athan and Strange of their ability to see what's going on. Strange, do you leave the room or do you?
No, I wait for everybody else. You didn't yell, "The door's open, let's get out of here."
So Strange is basically Strange yells that and is basically in the doorway, framed by the green light of the hall beyond. And upon yelling that, you definitely take a mouthful of this stuff and are kind of torn between going and like coughing that up. Athan, as the gas rolls into the room with an alarming speed, as if it's being propelled by something, you see Ensign Carnell step into the fog and shout, "Lieutenant!" There is another flash of blue, and the fog cloud is illuminated from within a couple more times. And then there is a scream. There is an awful noise that can only be Ensign Carnell, as there is a horrible snarl, and a projectile comes towards you, Captain Athan. Please make me an athletics check.
Or it's not. I hope it's not his head.
No, it's fine. It's just his foot.
Oh, I got a 6, and I rolled another 6. That's a 2.
Fine. Then you basically are able to sort of dodge your head to the side. It's not elegant, but you dodge and you hear a clang somewhere behind you. And then the gas seems to move, and you get your first big lungful of it. I would like physique checks from all three of you, please. Actually, no, just Athan and Strange.
I'm safe.
That's the word for it.
I just also had the exact same thing of, I rolled a 6. Oh, I rolled a 6.
Yeah, I rolled 2 3s that time, so that's
what do I even have for physics? Oh, 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then
I actually have some points.
Then effectively both of you take a big lungful of this stuff, which will without fail trigger at least a cough, if not a full cough, depending on your lung integrity to start with.
Probably not important.
Probably not important, but definitely not pleasant, as there is a sort of breeze that washes over both of you, and the scream continues, and then is silent. And there is a sound of clanging metal, and you are breathing in an unpleasantly noxious sort of gas in a quiet room, the scent of phaser fire in the air.
So there's no more of the screaming things that dropped out of the ceiling?
There is no more of the screaming that drops out. I don't think phasers smell. I don't think it smells like anything, but
we've hit stuff. The stuff we've hit with phasers has a smell.
There's the smell of burning metal. Yeah, you hear you still hear you hear a kind of clanging above you, but it's like the rhythmic thud of pipes that need bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
What's my situation?
I'll get fucking back to you,
Well,
Sammy.
It's just not here. Not here.
It's not always about you, Sammy.
Not here.
Sometimes it's about the people we leave behind.
So Athan is going to start with like sweeping the phaser lights, like checking the room as best possible, and just go. And so, can you identify what we've just had a lungful of?
I'll do my
Make
best,
sure
Captain.
we ourselves are in a safe space.
Yeah, whip that tricorder out and start going. So what is this that I've just huffed?
Yeah.
Superb. I should like a science check from Ensign Strange. And Athan, what are you, apart from sweeping, what are you doing? Are you
like not advancing too far because I'm going to stick close to Strange, but like check corners, check like
and you may
openings above.
You may make me
like,
a notice check.
Make sure that nothing else is imminently about to come out at us. For fuck's sake, 6 and a 5, so that's 2.
Very well. Now, what you detect, Ensign Strange, is mostly the breathable atmosphere that is on the space station. But you detect a very strange organic compound in the air that does not match any of your existing records of known compounds that get used in air filtration systems.
Okay.
And you are fundamentally not expert enough to guess on the fly what it is. But it doesn't seem to be actively poisonous, as I imagine you run it immediately through the filter of, if I breathe this, when will I die?
Yeah, like check its chemical structure against known things what kill people.
Yeah.
Does it look like any of these? No? Great.
If say you were running everything in it against some sort of traffic light system, it's not all flashing reds like get out of there, you're dying, but there are a lot of ambers, there are a lot of
not great, not terrible.
Adam, I'm not sure about this kind of stuff.
Well, thank you very much, Tricorder.
I'm helping. And Captain Athan, in your sweep, you find a couple of things that are worth noting. One, ceiling panels seem to have been replaced. And you see a trailing cable coming down from one of them that seems to have been left that wasn't there before. Probably implying how the things were able to leave so quickly. And you see the thing that you find the projectile that came spinning towards you before in the corner, and it is a broken because of the spin and the fall phaser.
Okay, that's not a head. Okay,
that's not a head, but it has
it means the head's somewhere else.
It's been partly smashed. It's hit the wall, and you can see that there is a bloody handprint on the grip. It looks as if it has made physical contact with something very hard and broken.
And that's going to take a lot, right? Like, yeah, that's what I would assume. Okay, Ensign, where are we?
Is that to change or to try and find where kind of
No. This is take stock of situation. This is to Strange.
Well, it's an organic compound of some kind. Doesn't look to be anything that's.
Assume, by the way, that you two are having this conversation through hacking coughs.
Yeah, okay.
Because whatever it is,
I could fizz that really easily right now.
Yeah, I'd love you not to do that. Because it is heavy and it is in your lungs.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like it's particularly toxic, though. Just organic.
Okay, let's sweep the room. Stay close.
Off we go.
Gonna make a staggering
Fucking
way
stop.
through the room.
I would like both of you to roll me a d6, please.
Let's see what happens if I roll the bad one.
4. Okay, so it is Strange who, as you are walking through the room trying to look for things to look for, you bang your thigh really painfully on one of the benches, which was slightly you had a fairly good memory of the layout of the room, but it was disturbed in the scuffle, and you do that thing where you walk with full confidence right into a very hard metal corner.
Yeah, that's that thing that people do.
And being a man, you're very grateful that it hit you right on the edge of the thigh, but like
could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, but it's still,
still not good.
Still not good. And as Strange, as you hear that noise of Strange just gently in pain, you hear bang, 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 and there is a whir of ventilation system, which sets both of your hackles up fairly extremely, until you realize that it is not quite sucking, but sweeping the gas up into the filtration system. And away.
Cough a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then keep on sweeping and just call out, like, Carnell, Casey, just in case they're somewhere in the dark room.
You can see places where
playing a game.
You can see places where phaser fire have struck. You can see places where furniture in the room has been disturbed, scratch marks. You can even see places where the cables that came down from the ceiling have whipped into the ceiling tiles. And then, of course, you spot the puddle of blood that has begun to drip through the grating in the floor.
It's fine. It's grating in the...
Yeah, there's a grate in the floor that just...
Okay, is oozing.
Yeah. And you can hear in the quiet, the distant sound of the fans down the corridor that sound like ghostly noises, and the drip, drip, drip of blood.
Go to that grating. Cover me. And I'm gonna pull the grating.
Yeah, just seems to be underfloor storage.
Check up.
Above seems to be the panels in the ceiling.
Let's try to pull that panel.
Pulling down on the ceiling panel will involve awkwardly standing on a bench.
Yep.
It's doable.
Yep.
And as you try and pull at them, there is a horrible rattle that echoes around the slightly bare room, but it doesn't seem to want to budge.
Carnell, Casey. Disgustingly check like the seam where the blood's coming from and see if this is like...
No, the blood was on the floor.
So it was just on the floor. Okay. Hop down. Let's move to the one where there was a trailing cable. That one might be a little bit more loose or open or something.
What Strange will notice looking at it is that it's quite a heavy duty cable that seems designed to take human weight, which in certain space stations is completely sort of normal, and comes equipped with sort of strong clasps and clamps, as if to go on belts or objects
like
or
anchor
anything.
points.
Yeah, anchor points. And it's kind of just trailing there, coming down through a hole in the ceiling, which I'm going to say you notice isn't a feature of the ceiling. It has been
added in.
Like it's a small hole perfect for that cable, but it's not like...
Yeah, so somebody's put some care into putting this hole in the ceiling, but this hole has very much been added in post.
You would say it was if you were personifying the two types of engineering you saw done earlier as the careful engineer and the chaotic engineer. This is the work
Type 1.
This is the work of careful engineer, and you appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good work, careful engineer.
Thanks, careful engineer. Careful engineer.
But other than, I guess, yanking on the cable, the
Not doing that.
the panel around it seems locked in place. You're confident that given 10 minutes, you could probably pop those panels open, but also you know that they seem to have been like not quite latched, but like definitely blocked from the other side.
Yeah, so somebody has taken care to shut these panels.
Yeah.
I will relay this to the captain.
In the distant regions of the ship, you think you hear a sort of banging again that could be pipes or could be worse.
Hey, this makes very little sense. Let's see if we can fall back to the shuttle.
Hi, Captain.
We can get at the very least rebreathers, rifles. Let's
go.
Let's go fall back to the shuttle.
Yeah, through that door that we opened earlier.
Yeah.
You pull back into the corridor.
We don't get as far as the shuttle and we die.
You pull back to the corridor and perish immediately.
I'm not trying to leave them. I just want more shit.
Yeah, you pull back to the shuttle. The emergency lights are now sort of flickering ever so faintly. What is your marching order? Who is in front and who is behind?
I think it's probably going to be like actually Strange going first because we have to get through technological problems. And sure, these fuckers can come from the roof, but we know that they can come from the roof.
We know they came from that way.
So yes, so that it will be Athan very much watching the rear.
Yeah, very well.
Strange watching the front.
Then Strange and Athan, as you move down the corridor, Strange looking ahead, holding your phaser with all the confidence of someone who is like, I've got a phaser. I've been trained in phaser.
I'm armed. You better watch out.
Oh, you. And Athan holding hers with slightly more confidence, but still with that grim set of being in a situation. This corridor seems to be basically the long access corridor for most of the vessel, and it will probably turn at some point. Down the corridor there are occasional patches of flickering emergency light that again leaves that sort of green cast here and there. And just for a moment, one of the strips of emergency lights far in the distance flickers on and then off, and you think you see hanging down from the ceiling a humanoid shape. As Ensign Strange, you reach the door that you shut and bolted back to the shuttle bay. And now looking at it, you see something has changed. Other than just the muck and detritus and blood that have been left everywhere by whatever it is that's done this to this research station, you see daubed in bright red on the back of the door facing you a big letter X.
Right.
Do what you can. It's not essential that we get back to the shuttle. It'll just be easier if we can get back to the shuttle.
Well, do what I can, Captain, and carry on trying to, let's get the door open and go back to the shuttle.
Make me an operations roll. And Captain, glancing back down the corridor, the figure that you saw is no longer there.
Stats. 1.
That's absolutely fine. It's not as elegant as your previous unlockings, but all you basically need to do is go, yes, I am. I do know that I'm doing this. Thank you very much for asking.
Yes, thank you, Door, for your opinions.
But
nobody asked you.
And also, whilst doing it, you have to tap onto the panel that's had some of this red daubed on it, and you get some on your hand, and it's sticky and unpleasant.
It's gross.
And it's gross.
It's gross. Don't like it.
But then the door slides open with a, I mean, you want to say ominous, but just the normal sort of swish clang that you would expect from this sort of heavy door. And Strange, make me a notice check.
Okay, that's a 5.
Yep. So
that's a number.
That's a great number. So initially, something is wrong. Just as soon as the door opens, the light beyond in the docking bay is off, but you smell the smell of damaged engineering.
Oh boy.
You know that smell so well. It is leaking neural gel. It is damage to key metallic components that you know inside out. And as
electricals.
And as you step out into the dock, in the faint light that spills from your phasers and from the doorway behind you, you can see an unpleasant quantity of damage has been done to your shuttle. It is doing the equivalent of smoking and steaming.
Well,
they don't seem to care about doors. That shouldn't surprise us. Have they breached the interior?
Let's go have a look.
Nothing else? We weren't leaving yet anyway.
As Captain Athan says, have they breached the interior, and you approach, the camera will pull out to the back of the vessel, showing Strange and Athan walking from the other side. And from the other side, it clearly shows like big holes in the windows, the door open, stuff having been gutted. Cinematic shorthand for this thing has been gutted, and those two are about to find out. But that is the moment.
Is trashed.
But that is the moment that I am going to cut your scene, and we are going to move to Lieutenant Samuel Cayce.
Yeah, what up?
The camera is in close to Casey's face. He looks bloody and beaten up in the manner that we have come to expect from Lieutenant Cayce. Around there is sort of that faint flickering green light that just highlights the damage that's been done here and there, and we hear that same echoing horrible guttural scream, and the rattle of metal as if something is happening, and we see Casey's eyes flicker in that way that someone does when they're coming around. And Lieutenant Cayce, you awaken on the metallic floor of a research station, feeling like absolute garbage.
Lieutenant Carnell?
You go to speak. You say Carnell's name, but you get halfway through his Carnell before you feel a cough rising up inside you. It's like you've inhaled a big lump of water. Like everything feels heavy and sharp. and it takes you an uncomfortably long time to calm that down. There's a horrible taste in your mouth.
Kind of put hand to mouth, make sure I've not coughed anything up.
Your lips are cracked and very dry. You think you might have been coughing whilst you were unconscious, or at least trying to breathe whilst unconscious in a way that wasn't conducive to good airflow.
I'm going to simultaneously try to find a phaser and try to stand up. If I need to choose between the two, I will find a phaser.
Superb. You can make me a physique check, if you will.
3.
Oh, big boy. Luke also says, "Oh." You go to push yourself up, effectively doing what is a pretty elegant Starfleet move, which is push yourself up on one hand, go to check where your phaser normally is with the other, in order to be prepared into some sort of combat stance. 2 things happen at once. 1, you find no phaser in the place where phasers ought to be, and 2, your wrist gives out as you are trying to put your weight on it, and you sort of crumple inelegantly to the floor with a groan that triggers another much more brutal coughing fit. And this time, yes, you do spit something out that seems to be a sort of substance.
Okay. Feeling around what is in my immediate vicinity.
Feeling around in the low light, in the darkness, your hand touches on first something fabric, then something metal, and then something damp. What do you investigate?
I investigate the fabric thing first.
Pulling the fabric towards you up to the light, it smells musty, but not sort of unpleasantly, so not moldy, just like it's been left in a corner for a bit. And it seems to be some sort of a workwear jumpsuit that has a name embroidered on it and seems to have been in places slashed. It's had 2 of the sleeves, both of the sleeves ripped off, and it has a lot of marks on it, like burning or work marks.
I will next investigate the metal thing.
The metal thing you pull out seems to be I'm not gonna trek about it, but apart from something engineering, but it's had all of the complicated bits sort of ripped out of it, so it's just the scrap metal.
Size?
Sort of about this long. I'm aware that my other hand is off screen, but you know roughly how long my arms are.
Yeah.
I can always do that.
I will now investigate the damn thing.
It is a puddle of blood and just misc damp.
Okay.
Now you got a bloody hand.
Shit.
No blood.
Oh. Am I... Standing's out of the question. Am I pinned in my lower half, or can I crawl?
Crawl. You could probably get up if you put a bit more effort in and didn't just rely on one hand. But like your left half is just, it's very achy and throbbing and swollen.
I will use my newly obtained chunk of metal to help myself get to my feet.
It helps you get to your feet, but it is very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So you are welcome to keep it, but it will be an encumbrance of sorts.
No, I will keep it in mind of where it is in case I need to grab it and use it as a weapon. But for now, I just want to get mobile.
As you get up again, you feel another cough rising inside you, and you realize that it's very difficult to get a full lungful of air.
Mm-hmm. I will start trying to maneuver around the room. I want to basically find a wall and then do an orbit in the hopes to then find a door.
Once you are stood up, you realize that you are in some sort of cupboard, in that you could probably touch one wall and then the other with just a lean. And the fact that there are built-in shelves here that would have contained boxes of things but no longer seem to. And that the door is wreathed in a sort of halo of greenish light from the other side, indicating that it is not a sealed door, but it is probably a shut door. And you hear sort of distantly and all around you that sort of howling noise. And then you think you hear the sound of a more distressed human noise.
No no visible phaser, no. I will open the door a crack to have a look outside if I can.
You cannot.
Oh.
This door is shut from the other side.
Press myself flat against it. What can I hear through it?
So, make me a notice check. Going forward, you are currently at a permanent -2 to all your rolls. You have received the aspect, egads, I'm fucked.
I have added that to my character sheet. Down to a... okay, so that's straight roll. What was that? Notice 2.
Mm-hmm.
2.
So
2.
You can hear the sound of things being moved or flung about. There's dragging. There's the metallic sound of things being moved in the room beyond. You can hear more of this screaming beyond, but something about it nags at you. It isn't just screaming, but you can't quite put your finger on why. But you are able to pick out in amongst the sort of slightly more alien sounds of these creatures, the very distinctive to you sound of Ensign Carnell.
Mm-hmm. How's he sound? Is he having
He doesn't sound like he's having a good time, you know? He actually might be having a worse time than you right now. And you're you.
Yeah. I've got an immediate point of reference on that. That's
yeah.
Not ideal. Quick tap on the comm badge just to see if it does anything.
Oh, sweet summer child.
No. Okay. I mean... current thinking is that I've been put here. If I have been shoved into a cupboard heroically by Carnell, that's lovely, but doesn't really help the situation that I found myself in. Regardless, I think the next step is to try and get...
This is a great plan. Top plan.
I should
my
get.
favorite plan. You
Time
should
to
get. You should try and get.
Try and get. No, there's. I
just accept death.
No, I'm gonna yell out for Carnell. It might draw their attention to me, but the alternative is I let a Starfleet officer be in distress on the other side of a door and do nothing like a coward. No, I'll call out for him.
So you're banging on the door with your good hand and screaming?
Yep.
Then the sound of dragging in the room next to you stops. There is a moment of silence. And then there is a returning bang, bang, bang on the door, which sort of cuts through you because you've had your face pressed against it to listen. And The sound rings through your head like a bell. Hurts your jaw somewhat. And you hear that sort of keening, creaking noise from one of the creatures from before. And seems to be responding in tone to your cries for Carnell.
That's fucking wild. That's not great. I'm gonna lay off that. That's not gonna be. I'm not now going to communicate with it. That's an interesting observation.
You hear a dragging sound, as if something heavy is moving on the other side of the door. I mean, in places, the light has been disrupted. Yeah. The noises in the distance have not stopped.
Okay. No weapon. Locked cupboard. Fairly dark. Creature on the other side. I have a large chunk of metal. Empty shelves.
A jumpsuit.
And
a icky pile.
Is the icky pile from me? Like, I don't want to spend too long on the icky pile, but like, there's clearly...
You don't think you're bleeding actively, unless you spat it up in your sleep.
That's a point. I could have done that.
As your fear increases, you certainly feel that tightness in your chest increase, but you're able to sort of push it down. Shallow breath.
Door is an automatic Star Trek door, not an outy, openy.
Yep, it's a slidey door, not a swingy door.
That's fucked. Okay. Any vents, panels that can be loosened around the top of the room, or even the bottom of the room?
Having a look in your adjusted to night vision eyes, you see that there are some vents in the ceiling, but they're definitely those sorts of air vents rather than like Jeffrey's tubes.
Damn.
They could pump awful gas in, but you couldn't use them to get out.
No.
Which is the way around that you don't want.
No, that's the opposite. Nothing on the floor, no exit point there.
No. And you once again hear that scrape of something, you think, pacing on the other side of the door.
Oh, that's worse. That sucks. Any door panel on this side?
There is certainly some sort of access panel, but it's not because it's a cupboard, not a corridor. It's not like it's the same technology on either side, but there does seem to be a way of engaging with the panel. And unlike the rest of the ship, this seems to be illuminated in some way.
Okay. There, because of basic health and safety, which is still alive and well in the 25th century, wherever we are. 24th, I thought so. Shouldn't have second guessed. I am going to try and dismantle. Well, first of all, interface, does it work? I imagine it doesn't.
It works in that you get literally to the front page of it, and then it's like, now you need access clearance.
Okay, that's fine. I am going to try the old manual override. However, I am also going to be doing a listen out to the pacing outside the door. I do not want to trigger a manual override and to force the door open when the thing's immediately outside.
Okay. So, you can make me an engineering roll. At a -2, remember?
Yep, that's gonna fuck me. That is a mere 2.
So you are able to access the administration panel. As you do that, it will go, and there is a pause outside the door, and you hear another one of those bang, bang, bang sounds, and the sort of screaming guttural voice that goes, ah!
Horrible. Okay, so they can hear what I'm doing in here up until the point that I can't open this door discreetly.
Yeah, you are on the other side of the door from it. It's not a soundproof door.
No. Fuck. Okay. No reason not to think that if I now open the door, I will be putting myself into immediate danger. No reason not to think I don't have time. Now I need to observe its patterns of behavior. It could leave in 10 minutes and that will give me the clear break that I need. So current modus operandi is if I need to make a sling out of the overalls to deal with my fucked arm, I will do that. I appreciate it won't take away the negative modifier, but that is a sensible thing to do and something I can do to occupy my time while I'm waiting for a circumstance to change that I have no control over.
Definitely. So you sort of sit back down with your back against the door, grab the overalls that were near to you. You think these are not very old. The name is not super faded. The places where everyday wear and tear fraying might occur have not happened. The damage seems to be damage done rather than overtime wear and tear. But on the sharp edge of that bit of metal you have, it's pretty I would say pretty trivial to construct a rudimentary sling.
I will sling my arm.
And sort of sitting there with a big scrap of lightly stained fabric around you, you sort of set your head down and listen as we cut back to Captain Athan and Ens Strange. Having done a thorough investigation of the shuttle, you can see that Chaotic Engineer has been here.
We don't like Chaotic Engineer.
No, we don't. We wanted.
If anybody was going to trash our shuttle, we wanted it to be Careful Engineer.
Careful Engineer
every
time.
Always choose them.
They have done a remarkable job on ripping out bits of the ship. I will ask for one single engineering roll from you.
4.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of things have been removed in varying arrays of care, but it's all done by Chaotic Engineer. And you would say probably they started slow and then just ramped up to ripping out everything
to full chaos.
And this bird isn't going to fly anytime soon.
Wow.
Athan notices in her investigation, distressingly, that every phaser and tricorder and etc. is gone.
Oh no.
She'll have prioritized checking the equipment lockers.
They even got into the security locker that contains the phaser rifle.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Oh, lovely.
They even took the upholstery off one of the seats.
Well.
And this has been, a bit of solid time, and you're basically stood or sat on the stoop of the thing and just have now reached that phase.
Just from having looked at all of this, if I was going to try and fix this, what kind of scale of time are we talking here?
So the scale of time we're talking is variable because there are some things that just will not work with the parts that you have. So you'd need to get some things, even if you were going to bodge job it, you need some things to bodge in the first place.
Well, yeah, bodging requires, material. But, at the optimistic end of if I could get all the bits I need to bodge something together to make this shuttle fly, are we talking hours, days, months?
You're thinking more days than months, but 30 to 40 hours.
Okay,
solid working.
Two long ass days.
Yeah. That's with the help of Captain Athan. Longer if you're doing it on your own. Shorter if you had Casey back.
Someone more useful than Athan. Do I have any ranks in engineering? No.
You've got the hands.
Yeah, Athan would fill in the role about the same degree of helpfulness as Carnell in that they can lift and carry stuff.
Got ranks in operations, but yeah.
You've got hands.
Any Starfleet officer would be helpful because they know how a shuttle works.
Yeah, it's always the basic things, but mostly it's just like, hold this. But yeah, so yeah, Stranger will have given an estimate of, if I was going to try and fix this, this is how long it would take.
And considering the normal obstacles with communications, we can assume that even if the shuttle were in working order, getting comms easily picked up would be difficult, which would take a significant power boost, which, if nothing else, would be far more easily done with the facility than the shuttle.
We might be better looking at trying to put something together with repairing the comms on the station and getting some kind of distress signal like that way.
GM,
Hello.
Is this the only shuttle bay? This is the only shuttle bay. This isn't a very large... Sorry, this is the only shuttle bay. I'm not thinking about the craft. My mind is going to something else right now. There are only so many people on this who lived on this station. Can I make an educated guess of roughly how many people would or were we told, like...
There were under 10 people.
Under 10 people.
Okay,
how many shapes
about a shuttle's worth.
Yeah. How many shapes were there in, can I make a guesstimate? More or less than 10 in that?
Less than 10.
Okay. So whatever's happened here, whoever these people are, either something has happened to the inhabitants of this station and or something arrived here
by some other means,
or the shuttle dropped off, or a vessel dropped off
and left.
But that's the other two. We don't really know what we're dealing with here, but
no,
that starts to give us some idea, at least, of numbers. Can we get can we get a better examination now that we have a moment of what that gas was and why the hell it was coming through?
I can do that.
You have somewhat of a sample, but the gas is no longer present in the atmosphere.
Okay. Can I go up to where it was venting out from and see if it's left in?
It was the air vent system, so
see if there's a residue on the vent itself, or you take the front of the vent off and start scraping gunk out the inside.
Yep.
All that kind of stuff, and then sample that.
You are able to get, there's a sort of white, chalky but like sticky residue, kind of like the grease sticky that you get on a stove that's been used too much. Without being cleaned, but it's white. You can see in the vents, it's coating the inside and has begun to flake off in like big crystalline chunks. And you are able to get a fairly decent scan with the tricorder, which you now realize with dawning horror is the most advanced technical device you have now, which is great.
Tricorders are pretty advanced. I'll take that.
They are pretty advanced, but the scientific tricorder that you brought with you was with Cayce.
Well, but
so it can scan and it can tell you the sort of the organic somewhat compound that you're dealing with. But again, it's not a familiar compound. It seems to be synthesized either here or for some reason. You can detect very minor traces of radiation, but but
everything's got
higher than would be standard, but not like alarming. Like maybe see the doctor and get some
on a scale of banana to Chernobyl, it's much more banana.
It's more like Cornwall.
Yeah.
But again, you think the most damage it does is the fact that when you breathe it in, it is heavy and particulate, and it is staying in your lungs.
Yeah. Okay.
Like at some point, you definitely will have a couple of minor coughs as you're going, but it's definitely more of a sort of, I stood by a fire for too long.
Yeah, it's more irritation in like a physical sense of there is a physical thing in my lungs and my lungs do not like it, rather than a chemical irritation of this is dissolving my innards.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I take it
but
you
still
relay
no
that
idea
information to the captain?
Yeah, but still no idea what exactly it is other than organic.
Yeah, you can relay the chemical compound involved. I have not named the chemical compound involved.
That's fine.
But
I think neither of us are qualified to know what it is. Like to extrapolate cleverly from it anyway.
Yeah.
Does it look as if at least the systems to vent it have been jury-rigged? Or is this part of the decon in the facility?
I mean, does it look like it's something that might be
Really a
maybe
very
for
important question.
for contamination, or does it for like decontamination rather?
Make me an engineering check.
All right. 8.
This is definitely part of the ventilation system.
Okay, so it is part of the.
Yeah, nothing seems
what is normal for
jury-rigged.
the station.
Yeah.
It's just it probably doesn't normally seep.
It probably just doesn't
evil
normally
green
has
gas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not usually.
Well,
protocol I'm not familiar with. So these individuals appear to be aggressive. Something has caused whatever remains are being swept everywhere. Something's happened to Carnell and Casey. And they are showing a remarkable, not only engineering knowledge to be able to manipulate the systems, but a speed and determination. Does it look like they've just sabotaged our shuttle, or have they also been looting it for, specific parts?
Make me an engineering check.
3.
It looks as if they have been looting rather than breaking. This was chaotic engineer. It was not madman with an axe. Yeah.
And again, is it that kind of like electrical bits rather than going, oh look, scrap?
Yeah, you can even see places where like big sheets of scrap that you guess if you were having to build something from scratch would be useful have just been sort of discarded to the side. Like,
yeah, it's the same kind of taking it apart for components as have been happening around the rest of the station. Just done in a hurry.
We don't know what their motivation is. However, if they wanted to, they probably could have grabbed both of us as well. So they didn't. Right. We're going to get back in there. We're going to check other access points. We're just going to have to take it a room at a time.
Okay.
We're going to get back in there. I don't have a fucking idea what we're going to do.
Yeah, you can't say you care for this. As you approach... Hello? Am I here?
Yes.
Sorry. You said "oh" in that kind of way that implies that the sound had gone.
Nope.
Oh, sorry. Different noises.
You as you approach the door again, you're holding your phasers, and you step up, and you're uncomfortably seeing the red now coming through the thick window into the hallway, where the X was painted and is now.
Yeah, I'm still aware that it's been painted with fresh Carnell, I assume OC.
You're welcome to investigate. Nevertheless, and you move in, the emergency light still flickering down the corridor. You hear the distant banging of the pipes. Or is it? and you step down the corridor. Athan, you find your eyes are drawn inexorably towards the spot where you thought you saw someone hanging down from the ceiling. But even as the lights flicker in that spot, there is nothing there. The air still tastes like that gas, but nothing seems to be in it. And as you pass, you think the door to the rec room is closed now. Neither of you can remember if you closed it on your way back to the ship.
Is that still the first door that we would come to?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the room we were in,
and that was the room we were in.
And it had no other entry points. And right, we're not yet in a position.
Strange will easily relay to you that quite often these sorts of civilian research stations are built modularly and are constructed out of like things attached onto a central ring.
We will move on to the next door, and we will sweep door by door.
Yeah, you press forward, and again there are a couple of places where there is a glow down near your knees or your ankles where Strange can see things have been gutted out of the walls that maybe if you had time to stop you could figure out what was meant to be there, but it doesn't seem to be everywhere. Not everywhere has been like, you're not looking at a skeleton of a ship. Like clearly places have been targeted, but with your expertise, clearly some places have been targeted by careful engineer and some places have been targeted by chaotic engineer, but you are getting further away from chaotic engineer's work. Okay. But it is notable. In fact, both of you make me investigation checks.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, 3. I had a better investigate score than I thought.
3 and 4. So Ensign Strange, what you will notice as you were going and you were looking for signs of anything, is that yes, it seems that careful engineers' work is more to hand than chaotic engineers' work. Especially what you notice is that things that you recognize as being particularly technical or particularly advanced, especially in the realm of like sensors and scanning and beyond just basic ship systems, seem to have been what careful engineer was targeting. Right. And everything else that hasn't been touched like that has been ripped out in a more kind of chaotic fashion. And Captain Athan, a couple of the rooms you pass are in similar-ish states of disarray, but again are completely devoid of personal things, not just personal effects, but you think you pass a sort of bunk room and there's no bedding. You know, you think you see a place where there should be some food, but there are no cups or bowls. This is not a Mary Celeste situation. There's sort of no signs that people were here. And occasionally you do think you spot signs of a fray.
Yeah. Are all of the rooms got the mess?
The ones you have passed so far are in various stages of mess. That room was particularly bad. Yeah. But there are places all through the ship that you see there has been, you know, blood smears or the signs of violence. And as you you're coming out back.
Pause one moment. The next time I get a good amount of goo, and want to just do a tricorder scan of it to try to see if I'm picking up anything unusual with my complete himbo captain skill set.
Your tricorder says, I wish that the Talandra were here.
I wish that Casey or Burov were here right now, because
you do wish the doctor were here.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, make me an operations check.
Hey, I'm not bad at that. Ooh, that's a critical success.
Okay, then what I will do is, because it's critical success and it's a scanner and it's dramatic, I'm going to put this open to both you and Emily, which is that within the limitations of the technology you have, I will let you ask me 3 investigative questions themed around the blood. It doesn't just have to be what's the blood type. And I will do my best to answer them. I mean, you know what? You can even include Mike if you want.
Yeah, like what really Athan's been trying to check is like is there anything unusual, like
there's blood on the walls.
Like there's blood on the walls, but in the blood, like if we have, it's most likely to have been a human crew. Are we picking up any unidentified, like any biological matter which does not belong to a species that I recognize is really the key question. That's question one, I think.
You don't have to ask them all at once, but you do have to be precise in your language because I'm a dick.
Okay. All right, need to.
Okay, so phrasing for a dick GM.
Phrasing for a moderate dick, not
okay. We're not. This isn't a 3.5 wish spell phrasing.
No. This is a. If you ask me, is all the blood human? I'll go, no, not all the blood's human.
Yeah.
But not like but what blood? I didn't say blood. It's a hemoglobin. All the blood's been taken out. You know, like.
Yeah. Will you accept at least the premise of the? I want to know if there is like. No. I need to refine this question better.
How about the phrasing? Does any of this blood belong to a species that's not a member of Starfleet, or a species we don't recognize?
And not with species we don't recognize. Yeah. Does any?
Yeah, we want to widen it out.
A species. To be honest. A species we don't recognize.
Yeah. There we go.
Let me check my notes.
Mm-hmm. And then we can look at is it a recognizable thing that's been fucked with when this entire place became run by mutant ninjas.
Did they have shells? Is this spaceship full of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
It's the green goo, but it was a gas. We're in the sewers. We're in the bin.
Yeah. The bin.
Okay, so it is certainly procking as entirely human.
Okay.
But the parameters are interesting. They also are flashing amber. You can both make me science checks to interpret that fact, but it will not come under your questions you can ask as part of your clever investigating.
0.
-1.
Yeah, like it's basically saying the DNA markers are blah 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 blah. Are very interesting. Blah 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 blah. And you're like, what does this mean?
That sounds like a butter question.
Basically, it gives you more information, but it's basically like I've sent you a medical journal text that goes, it's all about haploids, and you're like, help me. But human with a lot of asterisks.
Okay.
Human question mark?
Okay. Human plus or minus.
Okay, what else do we want to know then? So we've got as far as human with bits.
I mean, that's really the key. That's
pretty much the key one there.
Yeah. You can ask me 2 more questions. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the blood. It can be about anything related to the disarray of the rooms or the violence or the splatter, you know.
Yeah, let's go with the splatter. Just for this particular room, to what extent is there like blood from signs of like arterial spray or someone's been smacked into a wall? And to what extent has there been like smearing?
Yeah, how much of this blood is artistic and how much of it came from a fight?
So given the height of a lot of the smearing, it definitely looks like the smearing of people who are trying to steady themselves with bloody hands rather than someone trying to make art installation.
Rather than somebody fingerprinting.
But you do notice a distinct lack of any sort of the quantity of arterial spray that would indicate someone being like stabbed to death or like had their throat slit. It all seems to be like fighting blood, but you don't see any like, this was a murder. This definitely happened here. It's sprays, it smears, it's injuries, maybe some deaths, but nothing that looks like, 10 people were massacred in this room and someone did art with their blood.
Cool. think my
Which is, comforting in its own way.
I think my thought was just going to be, is there anything fucking else in there? Because there seems to be quite a lot of this mess. And is this all blood? Is this all anything else?
But what can we get from the other gunk?
Yeah,
More
what other?
than-
Yeah,
then we already have by way of information of organic plus general detritus.
Yes. What is the other gunk? And if it's like slash, if that's a bad, or like how much of it is other stuff? Like at the two, what is the other? What else
like I said before, I'm not going to take this as a question from you because before it is as if the space station was no longer cleaned.
Yeah.
But it is dirty things and dirty people being moved around a dirty ship for an extended period of time. Nothing leaps out as like, there's also poison.
No, nothing else like also this weird mold.
The weird mold, the mold that makes people crazy, the crazy people mold.
Cool. I think that's
it, to be honest.
Like human question mark
human question mark.
It's not an expression of their sin or something going on. Listen, if it was artistic, like what the fuck's going on?
And then we've got.
Look, I know that I'm the pretentious one, but like, no.
Listen, I don't know what these ninja mutants do.
Nevertheless, as you are exploring the blood sprays of this room, I didn't take your last question from you.
Yeah, but I don't think we've got
that kind of was it.
No, that's fair and fine. You're exploring the spray, looking at places where engineering was done either well or nil. And once again, the camera pulls back to the doorway beyond where our two officers are, and we see another one of those cables snaking down from the ceiling. And the distant rattle of pipes.
But is it though?
Lieutenant Cayce, you have been sat here now for about, you don't know fully what time, but about 20 minutes, half an hour, feels like longer, sometimes it feels like shorter. Now that the initial adrenaline rush has died down somewhat, you can feel sort of a horrible, like angry throbbing in your shoulder that sort of spreads to your chest, like they're all part of one holistic pain and tightness. You feel exhausted by the idea of standing up again. You feel very dizzy. You're certain that most of it's pain, but you feel kind of fluey almost, like you just really want to lie down and not do anything. But you hear eventually the scraping sound of a figure leaving the other side of the door.
Okay, now's my chance. I'm going to try the manual override again.
Make me another operations check.
It's not going to be a high number. 4, 6, -4. So I'm going to spend a fate point here.
I think that would be a superb idea,
Because the future is everything I can't fall behind. I feel like is a good thing to tag in that I need to fucking get out of here. I cannot stick around here. And I'm going to make that a straight reroll, which is better in that it makes it a 0.
Superb. That's with your penalty, yeah?
Yep.
Well then, it's a good thing that you'd already set up everything from before. And although it does make an alarming sort of noise, you had waited until the figure outside had gone, and the door grinds unpleasantly open. And you realize that it's grinding because it seems to have been ransacked for parts on the other side. And it takes a grunt of effort to sort of nudge it, but it still is in its tracks. And so it opens onto what you think what you think was give me a second. It opens up onto what you think was some sort of security room, in that you recognize like empty weapons racks, or a couple, and the sorts of panels that show you cameras. But a lot of things seem to have been gutted out of this room, and that there are deep gouges in places on the floor where something has been dragged or slashed, or a fight has happened or something. And the effort of standing and pushing the door, you feel that dizziness come over you again, but you're able to hold yourself up.
How many exits to this room?
Just the one.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to do a full sweep of this room looking for any of my equipment. I'm going to be taking it easy and, again, leaning heavily on the walls, doing a full circuit around. Equally, if there's any, like, blood. Is this... And this isn't the room we were in before. I'm somewhere completely else. Okay. Rough. But yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do a sweep of this room, and then cautiously move into the next.
Make me an investigation check.
What? 2 0 3.
3?
Yeah.
Then you notice a number of things. One, that the door to the outside corridor has been closed. 2, that none of your things are in here. There's not even like a nook or a cubby or something. There are places here and there that blood freshly has been splashed. But most importantly of all, that the security console panel has a few screens that are still active. A number of them have been broken, a number of them have been gutted for parts, but there are 3 still active screens.
Well, let's see if I can interface with this computer at all. What's the shenanigans? What's the happy haps?
Make me an operations check.
Might need to burn I am going to burn another fate point on that to bring that up
why
to.
is that?
Because I'm one of the brightest minds of my generation.
I have heard that. I have heard that rumor.
And I'm not going to be locked out by a password input screen because I didn't try admin with a 4 instead of an A.
We see Casey's steely gaze as he taps again at the thing.
I swipe the unlock.
Strange isn't very steely.
Okay.
And as doing that, the security system sort of glows from its screensaver mode, and you are met with with 3 effectively video feeds, security feeds of what is going on.
Gross.
Around the ship. You see a corridor, not the one you came down. This one is illuminated, and you can see a great streak of blood up the center where something was dragged. You can see a room that is not well illuminated, but seems to contain these creatures. One is hunched over a sort of bench. The other seems to be up high, holding something in a triumphant fashion. None of these have audio, and you're very grateful. You're very grateful for that. As you can see, what was definitely once the med bay of this station, which again contains a number of these creatures wrapped in a sort of, you think potentially hazmat style suits, but it looks more like if they made a hazmat suit out of they took a hazmat suit, put it on, and then wrapped themselves in like cling film. Like they look horribly swaddled, with sort of dark places for eyes, and you can't quite see Ensign Carnell, but you know he is on that table, and you can hear from somewhere deep in the bowels of this station that he is not a comfortable bunny.
Bad.
And then you see movement in the empty panel, the empty window, and feel both the comforting rush and also the horrified realization of seeing Captain Athan and Ensign Adam Strange walking down that corridor, phases out, looking around each other, scanning with their tricorders, and coming across something you didn't notice the first time you were looking at the window, a place where another one of those great red X's had been daubed. You don't hear what they're saying. You see them both look at it with interest. Adam raises his tricorder while Athan looks quizzically and seems to ask a question. And you have absolutely no time to figure out if there is any way that you can interact with them via this screen, as you see two of those cables behind them drop down and feet appearing at the edge of the screen as they're joined by an enemy. And that's where I think we're going to leave it this week, kids.
That's a good place to leave it. That's rough. Gosh.
I think that's a fun, awful place to leave it. And I think you'll have a grand old time. Yay!
Zombie space ninjas.
That was cool. I like that.
I hate it.
Oh, you guys.
I hate it.
Thanks. Hate it.
I don't care for these zombie ninjas.
Good, they don't care for you.
Yeah, apparently so.
They will fuck you up, sunshine.
It's okay. I brought my least favorite command staff with me, so
yeah, but
you've got to solve this with the boys.
That means I'm gonna have to die with my least favorite command staff.
Yeah. Which does suck, but also
literally any.
But also, lads on tour.
Before I had to take the boys on tour, who are also incidentally the worst people for if I want to go on lads on tour.
Yeah, they really are.
Like, Talandra will be like, no, I'm not doing that party, but I know exactly what kind of party we're going to do. And I'll be like, okay, that's fine. Like, sure, we'll do some wine tasting or something. I don't fucking know.
It's a good wingman because she's not going to get drunk, and she's the planning friend that made the reservations.
Yeah. Literally every other member of the senior staff would be down to clown, whereas these two will just look at me like I'm a weirdo and not actually express their opinions.
They're definitely I don't mind where we go. I'll go wherever anyone else goes. Oh, I'm not sure about that place though. Kind of people that you just go.
No, I think they'll do what I say.
They don't even
get into it. We're gonna go party. Okay.
What's the party?
Adam, were you beaten up in school a lot?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good. Yeah.
I was.
It shows. I can tell.
Oh no.
The jocks were trying to save us.
But yeah, so that has been part 1 of Star Trek Iskandar Axiom. I hope you have enjoyed it. Once Discord has gotten over itself and has stopped being trash, although
it seems like it has.
It will always be trash. Hurrah! Discord has returned. You can go to our trash Discord, which can be found where Discords are found. I'd love to hear your theories, your thoughts, your questions, your comments, your concerns, because I've not run Iskandar for a while and I've forgotten how. But I want to thank Kath, Emily, and Mike for being just the best, most expressive people to run horror for. Thank you for letting me do awful things to you. And same, if you have any thoughts, then just let me know, because whilst I know what's going on, there's still some mysteries left up in the air for me too.
It's good to have mysteries for yourself.
Yeah, that's how you stay young. But apart from that, hit us up on Twitter, Patreon, or Discord. We are at @UCrew, just sort of
On all the things.
broadly speaking, wherever. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Wherever trash is found.
Wherever trash is found, you will find us. Wherever a garbage can has been kicked over by some drunk student, we will be there.
In it, screaming.
Ah! Push the Benson down the hill.
Check your bins.
Put an Ensign in the bin, kick the bin down the hill. Casey is trained for this. Get in a bin, push yourself down a hill.
He practiced with Klingons and everything.
Watch with horror as your boyfriend and captain are murdered by mutant space ninjas.
Frag yourself is what we're saying.
Listen to Carnell die, go crazy. Go to your mum's, have a pot pie.
Go to mum's, wait for it all to blow over.
Yeah.
Zombie mutant ninja
Exactly.
turtles.
Well, your stepfather will hopefully get it. So you guys singing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're making a Hot Fuzz reference.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You're making sure of the dead references.
Oh yeah, I am making sure the dead
Shit.
reference.
So I got too distracted.
When you're right,
by,
you're right.
Who's Casey's stepfather? And I was like, I guess Elrad.
That's
Elrad.
awkward considering I'm wearing my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There's the
t-shirt.
plot.
Planned all along.
We guessed.
5 minutes before this
we
stream, you were like,
sorted
I need a plot. That'll do.
That'll do.
But
Yeah.
Cool.
But aside from that, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for our glorious return to the world trash.
We're back, baby.
We're back.
We're back, baby.
2022.
and we're not sorry when we do it again.
And we'll do it again.
2022. Fuck yeah. Woo. Woo. Yeah. So live long and prosper, bitches. Yeah.
Bye.